If you've ever held an iPhone, watched a Pixar movie, or used a Mac, you've already touched a piece of Steve Jobs' legacy. He wasn't just a businessman. He was a rebel with vision, an artist disguised as an engineer. And his story, full of failures, genius, arrogance, and redemption, is a reminder that greatness doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from refusing to stop. Steve Jobs was born in San Francisco in 1955. But right from the start, life didn't give him a smooth path. He was adopted. His biological parents were two graduate students who couldn't raise him. His adoptive parents, Paul and Clara Jobs, were simple people. Paul was a mechanic who loved working with his hands, and Clara was warm, practical, and patient. Steve later said he was lucky, not because of money, but because his adoptive parents believed in him. As a kid, he was curious, too curious actually. He'd take apart radios and televisions just to see how they worked. His father taught him how to build things neatly, how to care about craft. That lesson, attention to detail, would follow him forever. In school, Jobs wasn't exactly the model student. He was brilliant, but bored. He got in trouble, pulled pranks, argued with teachers, but he had one thing many kids didn't: intensity. He grew up near Silicon Valley, surrounded by the early days of tech innovation, and it fascinated him. In high school, he met Steve Wozniak, or Woz, a shy, kind genius of an engineer who loved to build for fun. They clicked instantly. One had the brains to design, the other had the vision to sell. Steve Jobs went to Reed College in Oregon, but he dropped out after just 6 months. Not because he was lazy, because he couldn't see the point of spending his parents' money on classes that didn't inspire him. So instead, he dropped in on classes that did, like calligraphy, which later inspired the typography of the first Macintosh computer. He lived on friends' floors, collected Coke bottles for money, and ate free meals at a Hare Krishna temple. But he was learning something priceless: how to follow curiosity instead of convention. In 1976, Steve Jobs and Wozniak started Apple in a garage. Literally, a garage in Los Altos, California. They wanted to build computers simple enough for everyone. Woz built the circuits, Jobs sold the dream. Apple grew fast, too fast. By his 20s, Steve Jobs was already a millionaire. Apple went public in 1980 and became a tech phenomenon. But success didn't soften him, it sharpened him. Jobs was demanding, obsessive, sometimes impossible to work with. He wanted perfection. And he believed products should not only work flawlessly, they should feel beautiful. He used to say, "Design is not just what it looks like, design is how it works." But genius can come with a cost. By 1985, the same passion that built Apple also tore it apart. Conflicts with the board, power struggles, stubborn decisions, and eventually, Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Imagine that, being thrown out of the empire you built with your best friend. He later said it was the best thing that ever happened to him, because being fired freed him to start again with a beginner's mind. After leaving Apple, he didn't vanish. He founded Next, a company making high-end computers for universities and professionals. The machines were amazing, but too expensive to sell well. Next wasn't a commercial success, but it built the foundation for something bigger. He also bought a small animation studio from George Lucas and renamed it Pixar. At the time, no one thought animated movies could make real money, but Steve Jobs believed technology could serve storytelling. Years later, Pixar released Toy Story, the world's first full-length 3D animated film, and it changed the film industry forever. So even when he wasn't winning, Jobs was planting seeds that one day would bloom. In 1997, Apple was struggling. Sales were falling. products were confusing. The company that once changed the world was on the edge of bankruptcy. And then, the unthinkable happened. Apple bought Next. And with that, Steve Jobs came back home. When he returned, he made brutal changes. He cut unnecessary products, fired people, simplified everything. He told the team, "We're going to focus on just 4 things and make them insanely great." That focus led to the iMac, a colorful, friendly computer that brought Apple back to life. Then came the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, and suddenly, Apple wasn't just a computer company, it was a culture. Jobs didn't just sell gadgets, he sold an experience. He believed technology should feel human. That's why Apple stores looked like temples, why packaging felt special, why he obsessed over things you couldn't even see, like the inside of a circuit board. He once said, "If you're a carpenter making a beautiful chest of drawers, you don't use plywood on the back, even though no one will see it." That's the level of care he demanded. He pushed teams to exhaustion, but he also made them build things they didn't know they could. Love him or hate him, you can't deny the results. Steve Jobs died from pancreatic cancer in 2011. He was only 56 years old, but in those years, he built more than products. He built possibility. He taught us that creativity isn't about tools, it's about taste. That you don't have to invent a new world, just see the old one differently. He showed us that vision isn't enough. You need execution, and that perfection isn't achieved when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to remove. Jobs once said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." That line wasn't about recklessness, it was about curiosity, about never thinking you've arrived. Because once you think you're done learning, you start dying. Steve Jobs wasn't a saint. He could be harsh, impatient, demanding, and sometimes cruel. But he was also visionary, intuitive, and deeply connected to his sense of purpose. He didn't just build computers, he built tools for creativity, for connection, for humanity. He once said, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." And he proved it. So the next time you hold your phone, listen to music, or dream of building something from nothing, remember this: Steve Jobs was once just a barefoot kid who loved tinkering in a garage. He had no rich parents, no roadmap, no guarantee, just a dream and the discipline to chase it like his life depended on it. And that's why we remember him, not just as a founder, but as a reminder that you don't need permission to build something extraordinary.